On this episode, we talk about how to properly communicate when you're working remote, how to know what to do when your conversion rate goes down on your website, and marketing automation. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 32 of the AskEngin show. We're excited to come in. We had a great lunch and learn with Lauren and Lance with Lauren James yesterday. It was fantastic. Expect that video and clips of that to be peppered into our content coming over the next few weeks. We've got 3 questions for you today, and so we'll go ahead and jump in because John hates banter. And
wait a minute.
Started.
Come on.
Man, I didn't get the memo on wearing black today, so I apologize.
We need to make our logo bigger. This is not quite big enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a wraparound.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wrap
wrap
around.
around,
Yeah,
full
yeah,
print.
that's it. That's what we need.
First question from r/startups. This is a young manager needing some advice on a remote work situation. He's got an important position in his tech startup, and he's the senior technical lead there. Recently, he's felt like he hasn't really been communicating the vision of the tech team to the tech team, nor to his superiors, and he's just wanting some advice on communication at remote work.
Gosh, that's a tough one. We've got quite a few remote tech workers here, and I feel like it's hard when the leader is kind of out of the business. I mean, for the counterpoint, read Rework and then Remote by Jason Fried, the Basecamp guy, and those are pretty influential to all of us as we really decided how we were going to build our own internal team. And we kind of came up with a different answer. We said the core of the team needs to be around the core of the business. Yep. So the tech team and the business leads and the marketing lead needs to be in the same building together, at least fairly often. I mean, John Max works occasionally from Little Rock a day or two a week. I work from a coffee shop an hour or two a day. You are moving into a new house. You've got people coming every day. You work from home. So I mean, we have a very flexible structure, but yet we have this core set of hours that we work together, so it's very helpful. How do you? What's your advice? How do you? If you couldn't be in here, how would we do this?
Sure. So I think the best way is to have a very good project management platform, and then have Slack layered right next to it. So what I do with the freelancers we use, I talk to them every day. I check in on them, not with just what exactly they're working on, but like how they feel about the project, how they feel about the status, how they're enjoying working with me or the rest of the tech team. I think it's important to remember that these remote workers aren't just kind of black boxes that you give stories to and then you get code from. Like, building relationships is core to what we're doing here at Engine, and I'm trying to exemplify that with our tech team too. So
our general feed's kind of fun. I mean, it's things we talk about in the office. It's things that may or may not be around the project. It gives, you get to know these people as humans rather than this black box that I think people that fail at outsource just think, well, all programmers are the same. They're ones and zeros, and you just feed them money and great code comes out. It doesn't work that way, does it?
No, not at all. And I would tell this guy looking for advice on communication to start just communicating clearly and often with your freelancers. Really make it a priority just to talk to them, to always be asking, hey, are there any blockers? What can I do to make your job easier? What can I do to fix what you're working on?
Yeah, over-communicate.
Yes.
And mundane things, right? Go ahead.
Well, and I think that, I don't really have anything great to add here besides the fact that, your article that you wrote for Trello, the way that Blake organizes project management, it allows you to see, even if you're remote, it allows you to see very quickly what everybody's working on, what's been completed, what hasn't been completed, and it gives some availability, or it gives some, if you're having trouble saying, like, this is what I'm working on, documenting that is going to take that out of the equation. So we'll link that below.
Next question.
Next question is from r/e-commerce. This person's site, they're saying their traffic's growing by 40% week over week, and their sales have just halted. They want to know, what are some things that could be wrong? What red flags should I be looking for?
The first thing I'd say is the quality of the traffic, right? If you've got 1,000 users and you're at a 3% conversion rate, and all of a sudden you have 10,000 users and you're not, unless you're paying for the traffic, or free organic traffic, regardless of the quality, is a good thing. Even if that new traffic, the new 9,000 people in that scenario, convert at 0.1%, your gross sales have gone up and your cost to acquire them haven't.
Now, on the other hand, if you had 1,000 and you were, paying Google for those 1,000, and then you moved up to 10,000, and you're likewise paying Google for the incremental 9,000 on top of it, well, you just made a terrible mistake. Well, we had, what did we have the other day? We had a bot or refer spam or something that made it look. I mean, we were all high-fiving when we walked into the office. Hey, the Engine blog is up 900% week over week, and we all were like, oh, well, it's just the aggregate effect of what we've been doing. We finally hit a critical mass. Or John Mack said something interesting in the blog, and
we know that's not it.
Well, that's
yeah, and I think that also, I mean, your reporting windows are really key here. One of the biggest things that I see that younger marketers make is they make changes, they make discernments, they make decisions based on non-statistical significant data. If your traffic or your conversion rate is down one day versus the other, take it as okay, not as many people purchase on a Tuesday. If you're looking at it over a week span, take it into consideration. If you're looking at it over 6 months and your conversion rate has consistently gone down over 6 months, you've got an issue. Taking one data point from a day, from 24 hours, 48 hours, you need to be able to just take a deep breath and understand that it will correct itself, or give it the opportunity to correct itself. You never want to pull the plug on an ad set. You never want to pull the plug on a traffic source without allowing it to do its thing. And so that's nothing.
No, that's a really good one, because that's probably more likely the answer, wouldn't you say? Because I mean, if he's growing traffic 40% week over week, he probably didn't have 5 million people, and which grew to whatever.
I've got another theory. If the sales have ground to a halt, and this is a weekly change, I think he needs to open up all different browsers and check out on his own site.
Yeah, that's another thing.
A bunch of times we've had problems where a certain browser, we've deployed a new theme update, a certain browser may have had trouble. So look at where that traffic's coming from, look at the browsers and analytics, and then check
inventory.
out those.
If they've gone down to zero, you're exactly right. I mean, it's probably... with just this broad thing, it's just really a list of laundry lists and stuff to look at. I mean, is it statistically significant? Is it a new, lower quality, free traffic source? If so, don't worry on either of those. Is it a problem in Safari or Chrome, or maybe Explorer even? Oh, wow. Or mobile versus desktop. I mean, that kind of stuff. So those are all good places to start.
The first place to start is to go look at your session time. If your session time was a minute, and then you have a 30% increase in traffic, but the session time goes from a minute to 3 seconds, nobody's actually sitting there long enough for it to load.
Right, unless it's bot spam or referrer spam, then you're back to square one. Right. So it's a pretty nuanced question, but one that you ought to be able to figure out.
Last question from r/ecommerce. This person wants to know what is most important when you're looking at automating your e-commerce marketing. And I mean, I know we all say at Engine, it's a lot of automating your abandoned checkout flows, your email drips, your kind of brand introduction flow, that sort of thing.
You start with abandoned cart. I mean, that's the lowest hanging fruit for any company out there. And if you don't have that, then just stop listening to the podcast or vlog or whatever we're calling this, and go over to. So I don't even know what I'm doing. I mean, that's why should they listen to me?
We'll just go with show.
We'll go with the show. It's a big show. Yeah, we're like David Letterman. So. Sadly not. You lost my train of thought. So the abandoned cart is the lowest hanging fruit. I mean, you can raise your site conversion rate 30 to 40% if you're not using it and change over to it. That's pretty dramatic. Then next lowest hanging fruit is probably some paid retargeting on Facebook or Google. I mean, you could use Criteo or AdRoll. It's super easy to do. Facebook to us has always had the best bang for the dollar on that. Then go one step up, and this is where you start to run into limitations of platforms, and this is it's truly to me the why Engine is started. So let's imagine that a user comes in, gives you their email address, puts something in their cart, and abandons it. Okay, well, the technology is there to do it, but go up one layer of the funnel. So let's just say they looked at a product, and you happen to know who they are. They've signed up to an email or something like that. Most platforms, most email systems don't take any actions at that point. And that's critical. Well, go up one layer from that. Well, let's say you had a blog and a user came over and read about dresses to wear to a fall festival or spring festival or whatever. Well, if you sell dresses for festivals, you ought to send out highly related retargeting to that. So basically what I'm saying is the user-generated actions and what you know about them and what they've done on the site should trigger the logical flows. I think we had 258 of them at our last business, something like that. And they all we kind of arc off of each other. I mean, probably millions of different iterations.
Oh, I'm sure.
So that's why we started Engine, to make that easier. And we're not quite there yet, but once it's out, I mean, it'd be as simple as clicking a few buttons and doing it. What else? What did we miss?
Yeah, I mean, I think automation allows you to get 90% of where you're trying to get with the consumer, and it allows you to create a truly unique experience based on what the consumer's behavior is within your funnel, whether that be email, Facebook, Instagram, doesn't matter. Once they hit a domain that you control, once you have their email, if they open 4 emails but they don't open these 2, that's a data point that you can then create an automation on the back of that for other people to use. So automation just simply allows you to scale interaction at a level that humans are not able to. You're not able to individually track every single person, whether they open their email, how long they stayed on it, how long they stayed on your site. But based on those automation points, if you're tracking that information, I can then dynamically update an audience of people who have spent the top 25% of people who have spent time on my website. I'm going to speak to them differently than someone who spent 5 seconds. Yeah. And so it just allows you to meet someone where they're at, and through automation bring them closer to where you want them to be.
Yeah, you just kind of put on your thinking cap here, and here's a thought experiment. So there's a great outdoor retailer locally called Gearhead. Fantastic. Ted has built a fantastic operation. And when you walk in there, their customer service rep comes up, greets you with a warm hug virtually, and asks how they can help. And as you have questions, they answer them. And so how do you duplicate that expert? So Ted walking up to you as a master snowboarder or whatever, and you've got questions on snowboarding. Well, how do you then replicate that in a virtual automated setting? Just these blind, dumb emails generated by bad algorithms are not the answer. It's yes, it's automation, but it's doing it in a way that makes sense as a human would think about it, and that's that's easier said than done. So, yeah. You're a big chatbot guy, right?
Yeah,
you know more about that than all of us. So yeah. Tell us how good and bad on that works.
Yeah. So there's different levels of complexity based around your ability to connect data to humans, essentially, and connect identity to data. At the surface level, a chatbot is a fantastic way for you to engage and break into a new inbox, essentially, for your users. The Facebook Messenger inbox is not overly populated and saturated with advertising. It's one step back from actually texting someone.
Right.
So it's a really good medium as long as you're taking into account that you're invading someone's personal space. I think of messaging in general from a marketing perspective. How close to my face are you? And if you don't know me well enough, you need to be back here. Right. If you know me really well, you can lean in. Secondly, and what really excites me about messenger sequences, bots, things of that nature, is the ability to connect data to the person, to the identity, and then serve them content, serve them purchase behavior, serve them all of these different things that enhance the consumer experience. You're not trying to sell more. Obviously, that's the goal, but you do that through, if someone's just bought a snowboard and then you know that they've recently traveled to Colorado, maybe you serve them a piece of content of where you're going to go next time. If you've been to Beaver Creek, maybe you should try Aspen. If you've been here, maybe you should try this. It's a gateway to create deeper context with your user.
Yep. Yeah, we've all been in those stores.
It's like Spotify's.
That 2017 year end. That was so good. That was great. And I saw someone share that even this week in my feed. I mean, that's really good. But we've all been to that store, that brick and mortar store, where the salesman hounds you and they follow you around and they make you feel weird. Yeah. Well, and that's what a bad chatbot. That's what a bad email. That's what bad remarketing is. So you want to be like the owner of the store with that level of knowledge, walking up and saying, "Hey, I'm not on commission. I literally just want to help you find the right thing." And if you can automate that into e-commerce automation, boy, you're light years ahead of everybody else at this point.
And to put a pin in this, don't forget. I love the analogy of actually shopping in a store because I recently bought some really nice running shoes. the guy who owns the store was in there talking to me. He was like, "Oh, what races have you run recently? You know, what's your training schedule like?" He fed me content and then upsold me to a $300 pair of shoes, and I was looking at $100.
What store was this?
Fleet Feet.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was going to say the
yeah,
exact same thing. Local store, they do a great job. I mean, they test you for pronation.
They put you on the treadmill.
Yeah, exactly.
Film your
I mean, it's an
feet.
experience.
Yeah,
I mean, I can buy the same
truly
shoes from Zappos, ish. It's maybe not those exact $300 pair of shoes, but for the most part, I could go Google that or find it on Amazon or wherever, and so I love that example, and that's exactly what you want in your automation.
Perfect. Question of the day on this retailer theme. Want to find out, what was the last retail experience that you loved? I personally get really upset with large retailers because it seems like they're optimizing against human capital, which is their number one asset. But when was the last time, and share that experience that you went into a retailer and just was wowed by either the customer service, someone just simply saying hello to you. What was it? Why did it make you feel the way you did? And did it create a positive, experience with you and connection between you and that brand? Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.